Hi everybody, welcome back to Nature Kids, and today we'll be doing Science Grade 6 English Medium third term test question and answers part 2. So now let's get started with the lesson. What is a magnet? A magnet is an object that has the special property of attracting certain materials towards it. Give 3 examples of places where magnets are used in day-to-day life. Magnets are used in small motors, pencil boxes, and some toys. What happens when a magnet is brought near some materials? Some materials get attracted towards the magnet, while some others are not attracted. Name 3 materials that are attracted to a magnet. Iron nails, a blade, and a needle are attracted to a magnet. Name 3 materials that are not attracted to a magnet. Plastic, wood, and paper are not attracted to a magnet. Name 5 different shapes of a magnet: bar magnet, horseshoe magnet, ring magnet, U magnet, and tabular magnet. What are magnetic poles? The 2 ends of a magnet where the power of attraction is greater are called magnetic poles. Where is the attractive power of a magnet greatest? The attractive power is greatest at the 2 ends or poles of the magnet. How many poles does a magnet have? A magnet has 2 poles. What are the 2 poles of a magnet called? They are called the North Pole N and the South Pole S. How can we identify the north and south poles of a magnet? We can identify the poles by hanging the magnet freely or by using a compass. In which direction does a freely suspended magnet come to rest? A freely suspended magnet comes to rest in the north-south direction. What happens when 2 similar magnetic poles are brought together? Similar poles repel each other. What happens when 2 different magnetic poles are brought together? Different poles attract each other. What are like poles? 2 poles of the same type, such as north-north or south-south, are called poles. What are unlike poles? 2 poles of different types, such as north-south, are called unlike poles. What is a magnetic field? The area around a magnet where magnetic force is present is called the magnetic field. How can we find the most powerful magnet among several magnets? We can hang small nails or file clips from each magnet. The magnet that can hold the largest number of nails has the highest magnetic power. Why should powerful magnets not be kept close to electronic devices? Powerful magnets may cause damage to computers, televisions, mobile phones, and land phones. How can a magnet be used to remove a file clip from a glass of water without touching the water? A magnet can be brought near the glass to attract the file clip towards the magnet and remove it without putting a hand into the water or spilling the water. Why do we need energy in our day-to-day life? We need energy to do our daily activities and to make our work easier. How does electricity make our day-to-day activities easier? Electricity is used to operate household appliances, vehicles, machines in factories, air conditioners, and communication equipment. Name 3 commonly used methods of generating electricity. Dynamo, solar cells, and dry cells are commonly used methods of generating electricity. What is a galvanometer? A galvanometer is a sensitive device used to identify and measure a small current in the laboratory. How can electricity be generated using a lime fruit? Electricity can be generated by fixing copper and zinc sheets into a lime fruit and connecting them to a circuit. How is electricity generated? By moving a magnet inside a coil wire. An electric current is generated when a magnet is moved inside a coil of a wire. Who first discovered that an electric current can be generated by moving a magnet inside a coil of a wire? Michael Faraday was the first to discover this. Name 4 types of power stations used to generate electricity in Sri Lanka: hydropower stations, wind power stations, coal power plants, and fuel power plants. How is electricity generated in a hydropower station? A dynamo is fixed to a large turbine and the turbine is rotated using a stream of water. What are the two types of chemical cells? The two types are primary cells and secondary cells. What is a primary cell? A primary cell is a cell in which the chemicals are exhausted during use. It cannot be recharged. What is a secondary cell? A secondary cell is a cell that can be charged by supplying electricity after its chemicals become exhausted. Give two examples of secondary cells. Car batteries and mobile phone batteries are examples of secondary cells. What is an electric circuit? A system that allows an electric current to flow through it is called an electric circuit. What is the function of a switch in an electric circuit? A switch is used to break the connection when necessary. What are conductors? Give two examples. Materials that allow electricity to flow through them are called conductors. Copper and aluminium are examples. What are insulators? Give two examples. Materials that do not allow electricity to follow through them are called insulators. Plastic and rubber are examples. What is the main function of a diode? The main function of a diode is allow electricity current to flow in one direction only. What is an LED? LED stands for light emitting diode. It emits light when a small electric current passes through it. Write 5 ways of conserving electricity. Use effective bulbs such as CFL and LED bulbs. Switch off appliances when they are not in use. Do not keep televisions, computers, and chargers in standby mode unnecessarily. Use LCD and LED screens to minimize electricity consumption. Minimize the number of times the refrigerator door is opened. What is heat? Heat is the type of energy that is used to increase the temperature of an object. What is the main source of heat? The sun is the main source of heat. What happens to the environment during the daytime due to sunlight? The environment gets heated and becomes warm during the daytime due to sunlight. What is normal body temperature of a human being? The normal body temperature of a human being is 37 Celsius. How does the human body maintain its temperature when the environment becomes cold? When the environment becomes cold, the human body produces more heat to maintain its body temperature. Why do the body temperature of reptiles, frogs, lizards, and insects change? These animals cannot produce enough heat to maintain their body temperature, so their body temperature changes according to the temperature of the environment. How can friction generate heat? Heat is generated when two surfaces are rubbed together. For example, rubbing our palms together produces warmth. Name 4 fuels that can be used to produce heat. Wood, coal, kerosene oil, and natural gas can be used as fuels to produce heat. How can solar power be used to produce heat? Solar power can be used to heat water, such as in a solar water heater. What happens to the temperature of water when heat is supplied? The temperature of water increases when the heat is supplied. What happens to the temperature of an object when the heat is removed? The temperature of the object decreases when heat is removed. What is expansion? When an object becomes large in size after heating, it is called expansion. What happens to an object when it is cooled? When heat is removed and object cools, it contracts. Why are gaps left after railway tracks? Gaps are left between railway tracks to allow space for the expansion of the rails when they are heated. Why can a metal lid be removed easily after heating? The metal lid expands when heating, making it easier to remove. What happens to water vapor when it is heated? When water vapor is heated sufficiently, it changes into water vapor, which is the gaseous state of water. What happens to water vapor when it is cooled? When water vapor is cooled, it changes into water. What are changes of state? Change in which matter changes from one state to another due to supply or releasing heat are called change of state. Why does the color of a heated metal change? When a metal is heated, its color changes from red to orange, then yellow as its temperature increases. What are the main causes of the gradual rise of the Earth's temperature mentioned in the lesson? The main causes are excessive combustion of fossil fuels and deforestation. These activities increase carbon dioxide emission and raise the temperature of the environment. What do animals need for their survival? Animals need security, food, and habitats for their survival. What is a food web? A diagram that shows the interrelationship among plants and animals for food is called a food web. Why are plants and animals connected to each other? Plants and animals are connected to each other because of their food relationships. What is meant by the term herbivore? Animals that consume only plant materials are called herbivores. Give 5 examples of herbivorous animals. Cow, rabbit, deer, giraffe, and an elephant are herbivores. What is a carnivore? Animals that consume the flesh of other animals are called carnivores. Give 5 examples of carnivorous animals. Wolf, leopard, lion, tiger, and rat snake are carnivorous. What is an omnivore? Animals that consume both plant materials and the flesh of other animals are called omnivores. Give 4 examples of omnivorous animals. Crow, hen, pig, black bear are examples of omnivores. What is a food chain? A linear sequence that starts from a green plant that shows the flow of energy from one living organism to another is called a food chain. What is the first link of a food chain? The first link of a food chain is a green plant. What is a producer? A green plant that produces food within itself is called a producer. How do green plants produce food? Green plants use water, carbon dioxide, and sunlight to produce food by photosynthesis. Who are consumers in a food chain? Animals that obtain food by consuming plants or other animals are called consumers. How is energy transferred from green plants to herbivores? Herbivores consume parts of green animals, so the energy stored in green plants is transferred to herbivores. How is energy transferred from herbivores to carnivores? When carnivores consume herbivores, the energy stored in the herbivores is transferred to the carnivores. How is a food web formed? A food web is formed by the interconnection of several food chains. Why are all living organisms important for the balance of the environment? All living organisms are important because the links in food chains help maintain the balance of the environment. What can happen if an animal belonging to a food chain is destroyed or removed? Removing an animal from a food chain can affect the other links and may cause the number of other organisms to increase or decrease, disturbing the environmental balance. Why is it our duty not to harm animals and plants? Animals and plants are important parts of the environment, and every living organism has the right to live freely. Therefore, we should protect them and maintain the balance of the environment. What is weather? Weather is the atmospheric condition at a specified place during a short time period. What are the main factors that determine weather? The main factors are rainfall, humidity, temperature, and the speed and direction of wind. What is climate? Climate is the prevailing weather condition in an area for a long time period. How long should weather conditions be studied to decide the climate of an area? Weather conditions should be studied for at least 30 years. Which department records and forecasts weather conditions? The Meteorological Department records and forecasts weather conditions. What is humidity? Humidity is the amount of water vapor in the atmosphere. Which instrument is used to measure temperature? A thermometer is used to measure temperature. What is the unit used to measure temperature? Temperature is measured in degrees Celsius C in day-to-day applications. Which instrument is used to measure rainfall? A rain gauge is used to measure rainfall. What is the unit used to measure rainfall? Rainfall is measured in millimeters, also known as mm. Why is rainfall important to determine weather? Rainfall is an important factor in determining weather conditions. What instrument is used to measure the speed of wind? An anemometer is used to measure the speed of wind. What instrument is used to find the direction of wind? A wind vane is used to find the direction of wind. What does a wind vane show? The wind vane shows the direction from which the wind blows. What is a hygrometer used for? A hygrometer is used to measure the humidity of the atmosphere. Why does temperature change during the day? The temperature changes from time to time during the day, even at the same place. What information can be obtained from weather records? Weather records provide information about temperature, rainfall, humidity, and the speed and direction of wind. What are natural disasters mentioned in the lesson? Cyclones, floods, droughts, and landslides are natural disasters mentioned in the lesson. What is a landslide? A landslide is the sliding down of a large amount of soil and stones from a higher area to a lower area. How can we minimize the effects of natural disasters? We can minimize the effects by being alert about weather changes, listening to announcements, and following instructions given by the media. So that's all for today, guys. Like and subscribe. Like I always say, it makes me happy. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video, and until then, bye.